Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. Before we begin, subscribe and share the video because what I'm going to tell you today is not the typical end-of-year greeting. Demet Özdemir posted such a minimalist New Year's message that precisely for that reason, it blew up on social media. No striking photos, no long explanations, no staged drama, a simple background, and a short, unfinished sentence. Something like, "My only wish for 2026?" And with that single line, she left millions thinking the same thing. What did she really mean? The strongest reading circulating in the entertainment world is clear. It wouldn't be just any greeting, but a sign of change. After a heavy year, packed schedule, back-to-back projects, constant headlines, many interpret the message as a manifesto of calm, almost a declaration of boundaries. The question repeated everywhere is direct. Does Demet want to step back, even for a while, from the spotlight and from sets? People close to her, as the talk goes, say the tone reflects a maturity earned the hard way. After difficult months in Istanbul's most elite circles, some image specialists describe it as a modern cry for freedom. Less appearance, more control over her own life. And there's one detail that changes everything. There's talk of a fuller version of the message, discussed within her professional circle, that would include a key line. "My only hope for 2026 is unfiltered truth." If that's true, then this isn't pretty poetry, it's an identity shift. For years, we saw her in the mold of the perfect star. Flawless smile, constant success, polished presence. Now instead, a more human Demet may be emerging, perhaps more vulnerable, but just as strong. Of course, some analysts wonder whether this also works as image cleanup after the recent scandals linked to Çağatay Ulusoy. However, people around her insist on a different idea, that it was something personal, said with little to no involvement from press advisors. More an intimate impulse than a strategy. And here comes another important piece. It's claimed that Demet canceled most of her international red carpet appearances to spend New Year's in a private place, far from paparazzi. That move, they say, may even have unsettled brands she works with, because visibility clauses in contracts are being revisited. In the industry, it's read in only one way. Demet is choosing quality over quantity, and that, paradoxically, shows how much power she has. Where is she going? Theories are flying. Some talk about a jump toward the European or US market. Others believe it's not about changing continents, but about leaving the city and retreating to the countryside during winter. What does seem clear, according to the chatter, is that rumors of a financial crisis don't hold up. This search for calm wouldn't be necessity, but choice. And watch this, because some are already proposing an even bigger scenario, that in 2026, Demet could pivot her career and step in as an independent producer. It's said that art directors and creative teams are already exploring collaborations that fit her new vision. A curious rumor is even making the rounds that this moment of introspection could end in a very personal, non-fiction book project where she tells her own story. Most interesting of all is that, according to people close to her, the message also carried gratitude toward those who managed to see the woman behind the public figure. And that attitude changes something. It places her not only as a successful actress, but as someone capable of setting a new balance between celebrity and the media. And if you pay attention, the change wouldn't be only in the words. They say you can see it in how she uses social media. Fewer posts, softer filters, shorter captions. image consultants interpret it as a conscious shedding of displayed luxury and of the ideal woman character that chased her for years. In her followers' comments, one phrase repeats, "For the first time, she feels real." Others say, "It's like she's talking to herself, not to us." So the news, at its core, is this: Demet Özdemir is entering 2026 on her own terms. And the entertainment world is left with one question, the one driving everything today. What concrete steps will she take to turn that silent promise into a new life? Will we see her less? Or will we meet a completely different Demet? There's something that honestly exhausts me about everything people say about Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir. Not the fact that they're no longer together, but the permanent spectacle built around Can, where one thing is claimed and reality shows another. And over time, that lack of coherence doesn't just damage his reputation. It also wears down the patience of those who truly supported him, with hope and loyalty. Many comments go straight to the point. They talk about cover-ups, deception, an almost obsessive need to control the narrative. And honestly, I sense it too. When an actor gets trapped by the public persona he created, he starts moving not out of love or intimacy, but out of calculation and vanity. Some call it narcissism. I don't love labeling, but I do think Can has invested too long in the idea that he can manage everyone. The media, the fandom, his friendships, even his own past. And that tactic, sooner or later, comes with a price. That's why I understand why so many applaud Biran Tunca's blunt honesty. I also read it as an act of genuine friendship. Not the friend who defends you by shouting on social media, but the one who tells you the truth to your face when you're making mistakes. Because this isn't about who Can is with. If he decides to stay with Sarah, fine, it's his life. The problem is the hiding game, feeding contradictory versions and then acting surprised when the public gets disappointed. It's not hate, it's fatigue. It's that feeling that a back-and-forth story keeps repeating and no longer convinces anyone. And in the middle of it all, it feels unfair that Demet keeps getting dragged into every conversation about Can. Many people say it, and I agree. Why, every time Can is discussed, do they pull out images of Demet? She doesn't need Can to shine, and her career proves it. From the outside, you can also see that Demet chose a different stance. More discretion, more firmness, less theater. And that comparison inevitably puts Can in a difficult position because while he gets tangled in ambiguous gestures, she projects stability. What worries me most is the gradual decline some talk about. Not because Can lacks talent, but because credibility is capital you lose little by little. Today, it's a small lie. Tomorrow, a contradiction. The next day, a trip that raises suspicion. Then a phrase someone drops. This will be our year. And suddenly, everything turns into noise. And noise doesn't just wear out fans, it also affects brands, producers, and opportunities. No one wants to bet on a figure who creates more confusion than admiration. My conclusion is simple. Can Yaman isn't weakening for lack of success, but because of too much game playing. Too many masks, too much strategy, too much I control everything. And life doesn't work that way. If he truly wants to regain respect, he doesn't need a grand speech. He needs coherence, clear boundaries, and above all, to stop believing people are naive. Because the oldest secret in the world is this: what's hidden eventually comes out. And when it does, not only does the truth appear, the damage done along the way becomes visible too.